Alright, welcome back to our channel. We are Create and Capture Life. I'm Jonathan, and she is Lynn, and we are full-time RV living.
Now.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would?
If you watched our first Space Center video, then you know we went to Space Center Houston. And now we are going to talk about the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Yeah.
It was really important to Jonathan that we see both of these space centers because it was just something on his bucket list. So
she can say it. I'm a NASA nerd. I wanted to see them really bad.
It's okay. I don't want to see them. It doesn't make you a nerd. So we made sure that they were on our list. Kennedy Space Center is obviously it's in Florida, so you would think the weather would have been bad, but when we were there, the weather was excellent, and the weather was a lot more humid and hot when we were in Houston than it was in Florida.
This is true.
So that was weird.
Yeah.
But Kennedy Space Center, there's a couple things. We're going to cut to all of our footage from that day, and there is a lot of it, so we will cut to that footage quickly, or shortly. You know us.
No, we don't do anything quickly.
It is $75, at least while we're filming this in June 2023. It's $75 a person to get into Kennedy Space Center. It's not cheap. There are no AAA, no AARP, none of that. There are no discounts unless you're over 55. You do save $5. The other funny thing is you cannot buy tickets from a person when you get there. It's all kiosks. It's all self-serve. There's no such thing as a person to sell you a ticket, which I've never seen before. So that was interesting. They do launch. They do launches there. So
yep, she said do.
There is stadium seating if there's a launch and you want to camp out to see them. You can do that. We found out from somebody there. There is RV parking, so we were able to drive our RV, park it in the parking lot, save money on food. We were able to, obviously, to have our dogs, and we just checked on them. It wasn't hot in here, so it was perfect. RV parking at the time that we went in early 2023 was $15, which is it's less than Disneyland for a car.
Yep.
And the convenience of being able to come to the RV and have lunch, rest for a little bit, go back out was awesome. So definitely recommend if you want to take your RV and park it at the actual Space Center and, you know, take breaks like you need to, or if somebody wants to just like needs a nap or something, I don't know, like it's definitely worth doing that.
Yeah, if you're staying there for a launch, maybe that's kind of cool. You would go in during the day and go see all the things and then go back and take a nap, and then if the launch is like, I don't know, like 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that, because they tend to be at weird hours like that.
Yeah,
maybe you just go and you crash in your RV and then you go back out and you go watch the launch when it's time.
Yeah. They are only open currently for the summer of 2023. They are only open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So keep that in mind when you're visiting, because Kennedy Space Center is pretty big. The one thing I will say, as an adult visiting Kennedy Space Center, I'd never been to either one. Kennedy Space Center is a lot more like an amusement park. There's a lot more stuff geared for kids. There's like a playland. There's a Lego area. There's a lot of kid-oriented things that we just weren't interested in. So honestly, I think we were only there about 4 hours because there's just a lot of it that wasn't for us, because it was kid stuff, a lot of kid stuff. Amusement park type stuff that just, you know, so for an adult it's not going to take you all day, I don't think.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about the tour for the adults is definitely heading out and seeing the Saturn V rocket, which we captured in the video. Right outside of that is where the bleachers are, where you can watch a launch. And while you're standing out there, if you look off in the distance, you can see the different launch pads. You can see the NASA launch pads, and you can see the Space Force launch pads. You can see them both from out there. And while we were there, we were actually...
Is it still NASA, or is it SpaceX now?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or Space Force.
Space Force. Yeah, Space Force. SpaceX is different. SpaceX uses Space Force, I believe, their launch facilities to send up rockets. Anyway, while we were there, we were actually waiting for a SpaceX launch, and we'll skip forward at some point, but we did get to see that launch. I was standing out by the grill making our dinner for the night, and a bunch of people came out. We're at the RV park, and sure enough.
I like how he says we're gonna talk about it later and then talks about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, you're gonna see it. I think we got some video of it, but yeah. So there was a launch. I did see it, and I got some video of it.
I didn't see it.
So
I saw the video.
I tried yelling at her to tell her to come out, and she didn't.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
When we were there, it was pretty empty, and honestly, that made me sad because both of the Houston Space Center had a bunch of kids there on field trips, and the Kennedy Space Center didn't have. It was during the week again, and there were no kids there on field trips, and so basically the entire thing was empty. And that's kind of sad. I guess maybe a lot of people aren't interested in that, or maybe people just don't take their kids to that anymore. I don't know, but I was really surprised how empty it was.
Yeah.
I mean, there was hardly anybody there. The one thing I did find interesting is they made a big deal when you go through the gate and it's on the map and everyone's talking about you have to go on this bus tour. The bus tour is the coolest thing. Friends had told us that. So we go straight to the bus tour. We find out where it is on the map. We go straight to the bus tour. It's not a bus tour. It's a bus, like a Greyhound bus. Nice, air conditioned, which was nice. And they show you like a little movie on the TV, and you literally just drive to this other building. But that's where the Saturn V Apollo Saturn. I want to make sure I have it right. Apollo Saturn V Center is located, and so that's where you get to see the rocket and that kind of stuff. And so that was cool, but I thought it was a bus tour, like they were going to show you other things.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't what it was. It wasn't a tour. It was a ride to another place.
It was a shuttle to get to somewhere else. So let's take you to our footage of the Kennedy Space Center
when we were actually there.
Just a couple months ago, and we'll talk to you when we wrap this up. So yeah, you don't get the discount for senior.
Why? It said it on the sign right here. Oh, you have to do that at like a different thing, it says. That's fine, just do it here. It's only $5. Oh, there you go. My first senior discount. I actually have to show my ID, but we're here today at the Kennedy Space Center. Quite expensive. Hopefully it's worth it.
Now, here on the west side, you have a set of big gray doors here. These are called high bay doors. They are 456 feet tall, and it does take about an hour and 10 minutes to open a set of those doors. The same type of doors are over on the east side. Those small panels you see going up to the top, they stack into the ceiling, one on top of the other, and each one of those small panels weigh right at 2 tons. Panels on the bottom just open and close side to side. Right over here, ladies and gentlemen, standing is a brand new mobile launcher and a mobile launch platform that was used one time thus far for the SLS Artemis rocket. It launched there off of that platform out at Pad B a little over 3 months ago now, and they're preparing it for the next one.
is the Apollo 14 capsule, the Kitty Hawk. This is the actual one, and you can see all the damage done as it came back into the atmosphere. There's all kinds of dings and scratches and everything on it. But this is the one that came back with 3 people on board. Alright, so you saw what we saw, or a lot of it anyway. And of the two, Kennedy Space Center and Houston, what was your favorite?
I think Kennedy was cool because of the being able to see the rocket launch, but we didn't have to go to the Space Center to see it. The Saturn V rocket was definitely worth seeing, but I think Houston is still going to take it. That $5 million restoration of the Apollo Mission Control Center and the video and everything and that whole thing and the speech and just all of the things that were involved. If you haven't gone to the Houston Space Center, if you haven't seen the mission control restoration and the whole thing that they do, it just grabs you by all of the feels and pulls you in, and it was really cool. So I'm going to say that Houston is going to be my top choice.
I would say Houston because I thought walking through the space shuttle and the experiences were more geared towards education and information than playing. And I felt like Kennedy was a little more amusement parky, with a lot of kid stuff, and I wasn't really interested in that. So I guess it would be different if I had little kids. Maybe I would feel different about it, but I'm going to give it to Houston also. I will say this, if you stay at the Kennedy Space Center KOA in Titusville, I don't understand why it's called the Space Center KOA, because it's 20 miles away from Kennedy Space Center. And it's, how do I say this nicely? It's kind of a blank hole. I'm not going to say the bad word, but would not recommend the Titusville KOA. Wouldn't recommend. Just going to say that.
Yeah. It was
it was dirty.
Yeah.
The area is not good. There's just a lot of, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you have your RV, maybe find somewhere else.
Yeah, there's definitely...
You can see rocket launches from standing at your RV thing, like above your head, but you could probably see that in a lot of other places too. Save your money.
Yeah, I think there's 1,000 trails. There's a few other places that were closer. We just couldn't get in.
Well, it's called Kennedy Space Center KOA, so you think. not being from there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely do your research before you go to see how far things are. I think I just booked it based on the name, and yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake.
Don't let the name fool you.
Yeah.
Although a lot of the things, the walkthrough exhibits were pretty cool. You get a lot of, you do get information and stuff, but like I said, it's geared more like an amusement park. The food we didn't eat there, but we looked at the food prices and stuff. It's your generic amusement park food. We did get an ice cream, which was expensive and not that good and too small for what you're paying for. One of the coolest things, and I will say this, and our friends Dan and Jen, we talked about this when we saw them last, is when you see the Space Shuttle Atlantis, you can't go into it or anything like the other one, but it's a very showy. Like, they talk about it, there's this film, and then the wall kind of just disappears, and you saw it on the video, the wall disappears and there's the space shuttle. That's quite good production value.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a production team somewhere that put that together, and yeah, definitely 5 stars on that one.
Yeah, that was definitely good, but would definitely recommend Kennedy Space Center if you're interested in that kind of thing. And you can see launch. You just check the launch schedules. Just keep in mind, like they told us, launches are rescheduled constantly. The one that he saw had been rescheduled, I think, like 6 times.
Yeah, well, and while we were there, it was rescheduled twice.
Yeah, so there's no guarantee, even if you camp out, that they're actually going to launch something. Keep that in mind.
So more videos coming up. We're trying to wrap up the series of our Florida trip and all of the things we did around our Florida trip. So make sure that you are, liking, commenting, subscribing, ring the bell up at the top so you know when we post new videos. And yeah, we're trying to stay more on top of it. So hopefully we can take you along and catch you guys up to our current.
Yeah, we don't like being behind.
Yeah,
So thank you for being here. We do appreciate each and every one of you. Like he said, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. We love our subscribers. If you want to be on our Happy Mail list, the information's down below. Thank you guys for being here. Stay safe, stay healthy.
And visit Houston Space Center when you can.
Wrong one.
Houston.
We were talking about Kennedy.
No, I don't care about Kennedy. Visit Houston. That one's my favorite.
Bye.
Bye.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
A short time later, history is made again.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
For one incredible moment, we are one people with one history, watching our destiny unfold.